For reasons of this kind, it is prescribed by law that certain persons who are united by descent are excluded from marriage. For when there is a union of different persons in marriage, those persons who ought to regard themselves as one because of the same origin are suitably excluded from marriage, so that, while they recognize that they are one by this, they love each other more fervently. Again, since the things that are done between husband and wife have a certain natural shame, it was necessary to prevent those persons who, because of the connection of blood, should be respected from these mutual actions. This reason seems to have been introduced in the old law by what is said, "Thou shalt not discover thy sister's shame," and likewise in regard to others. In addition, it belongs to the corruption of good manners that men are too devoted to the pleasures of intercourse, because, since this pleasure absorbs the mind most of all, reason would be hindered from those things which ought to be done rightly. But the use of pleasure would follow too much if it were permitted for a man to be united by intercourse with those persons with whom he has the necessity of staying, such as sisters and other relatives, because the opportunity of intercourse could not be withdrawn from such. It was therefore in accordance with good morals that such a union should be prohibited by law. Still, the enjoyment of intercourse most corrupts the reputation of prudence. Therefore, the multiplication of such pleasures is contrary to good manners. But such pleasure is increased by the love of the persons who are united. It would therefore be contrary to good manners to be joined to relatives, because in them the love which is from the communion of origin and co-nurture would be joined to the love of concupiscence, and having multiplied love, it would be necessary to subject the soul to more pleasures. Further, in human society this is most necessary, that there should be friendship among many. But friendship between men is multiplied when strangers are brought together by marriage. It was therefore fitting that the laws should prescribe that marriages should be contracted with strangers, and not with relatives. Still, it is inappropriate for a person to associate socially with those persons to whom he should naturally be subject. But it is natural that a man should be subject to his parents. Therefore, it would be inappropriate for someone to contract marriage with his parents, since in marriage there is a kind of social union. This is why it is called Leviticus 18:6. Every man shall not come near to the neighbor of his own blood. By these things the custom of those who mix carnally with their relatives is excluded. But it must be known that, just as there is a natural inclination towards those things which are in the majority, so also the law is established according to what happens in the majority. It is not contrary to the aforesaid reasons if it can happen otherwise in someone, for the good of many must not be overlooked for the sake of the good of one, since the good of the multitude is always more divine than the good of one. Nevertheless, in order that the deficiency which might occur in any one person should not remain entirely unremedied, there resides with the legislators, and those like them, the authority to dispense with what is commonly established, according to what is necessary in any particular case. And if the law is indeed human, it can be dispensed by men having a similar power. But if the law is divinely established, a dispensation can be made by divine authority. Just as in the old law it seems that having several wives and concubines is prohibited from dispensation,